Good evening, welcome to Chat UTD. Another point against Liverpool. 3 games we've played them this season, we haven't lost any of them. The way I describe United at the moment is just carnage, chaos. I wouldn't even call it organised chaos because it's not. It's just mental. You watch Brentford, Chelsea, how horrendous we were against Brentford. We score, we look like we've won, obviously they equalise. Unfathomable to throw points away like that. Then Chelsea 2-0 down, 3-2 up. Moments of clarity, moments of confidence, moments of quality, and you lose with literally no time left. Today, it is like we go out and Ten Hag just says, like, just go and do what you can do. That's what it looks like. Doesn't look like there's any kind of like technical or tactical awareness in the first half. It's just wave after wave of Liverpool attacks, and we looked absolutely clueless as to know what to do to stop them. It was just one attack after another. I can't believe we've got so lucky that Liverpool was so wasteful for a second time in as much as, what is it, 2 or 3 weeks. They could have been 4 or 5-0 up at half time. Loads of shots against us again. Don't seem to know how to stop that. But then we get a goal from somewhere and everything's lifted and we start to look like we've got more energy in our legs, and you see a decent performance for 15-20 minutes and we're having a go at them. Moments again, like I've said before, Bruno, it's a moment. Mainu, it's a moment. It's 2 individual pieces of brilliance. Mistake by Liverpool for the first goal. But I've got no confidence about you, but I've got no confidence that we're going to win the game at that point. And obviously we didn't, and no one would have been that surprised, I don't think, if we'd have lost. It reminds me very much of when Ranić first took over and Carrick had overseen a 3-2 win against Arsenal, and Ranić was there at the game, and he took the next game against Crystal Palace. And in his press conference, Ranić said that he was asked if he enjoyed the game against Arsenal, and he said something along the lines of, "I'm glad we won, but no, I didn't enjoy it because there was no structure to the game. We won almost despite ourselves. We didn't win because of a structure, because of a tactical plan, because of a way of playing. It was just like a basketball game, and we ended up coming out on the wrong side, on the right side of it." And what he tried to do was enforce more control and more structure to the team, and they just wouldn't do it. They had no respect for him, and we know what happened over a 6-month period. It was a disaster, really. And it's the type of football that is just back and forth. You attack, we'll attack. Don't really know how to stop you just walking through our midfield like you are. But we've got some decent players on the counter attack, so we're going to hurt you every now and again. We're going to get a good punches chance every now and again. It's the type of football that if you were a kid watching United, if I was growing up watching United and I was watching the games properly and I went to the games, I'd really enjoy this. Because that's kind of what it was like when I first started watching us. Particularly the early 90s before we won the league. We were a bit of an enigma. You never knew what you were going to get. But when we were good, we were really good. When we were bad, we were horrific. But we were quite entertaining. And we were involved in some fantastic games. And as a kid, you're not bothered about the bigger picture. You're not bothered about structure and technical stuff and tactical stuff and the bigger state of the club. I didn't give a hoot when I was 11, 12 about stuff like that. I just wanted us to win, and I wanted to watch us score goals. And if we drew a game like that, like we did today, I'd have walked away from the stadium absolutely delighted. But as an adult, as you know, you look at it differently. Some United fans probably don't. Actually, I think it is still an escape for some United fans, and they do go back to that childlike state where they're just so in love with the club that they can't see past maybe that infatuation and see the flaws. And I kind of wish I could be like that, but it's long past that for me. And it's a good point. It's a great point. I hope it messes their chances up of winning the league. I don't know. I'm not here to talk about Liverpool. Don't care about Liverpool. I don't know how they've made the same mistakes again. 3 weeks, 2 weeks, whatever it was down the line. It's so surprising that they've let us off the hook twice. Although I thought it was quite different. I thought it played really well, and as if our lives depended on it in the FA Cup game. I didn't get those vibes today. I just think we were a bit opportunistic today, which is fine. It's good. We got what we needed. We got a point, which, as I say, hopefully sort of knocks them out of their stride a little bit. But this week just encompasses what I said at the start of the video. It's just chaos, and that's not sustainable. You'll get highs with that. You'll get lows. What it does make me think is what I've said before, is I think we do have a chance to win the FA Cup, because, Jesus, we've got to get past Coventry. If we can get past Coventry, even if we play City in the final, there's something about this team that they're not great. The players aren't good enough. There isn't that structure. They're not reliable, but they have a performance in them, and they've showed that this season a few times. And they've been more bad than they've been good, but they seem able at times to pull something out of the bag. And you look at the and I'm not using injuries as an excuse, because you've got to have a squad that's good enough to cope with it. But that team that's out there today is not good enough to compete with Liverpool. Young boy at centre back had a brilliant game. He was fantastic. What a baptism of fire for him! But he was superb. But you've got him and Maguire, your only two fit centre backs. We haven't got a left back. Casemiro's playing like he's 85 years old. Like, awful. Really, there's not a structure to that team that should be able to get anything out of the game against Liverpool, particularly on the back of Thursday night, which pretty much ended our season in the league. So fair play to come away with a point. But as I said, it's just chaos. It's just carnage. It's just, let's go out on the pitch and see what can happen. And on Ten Hag, I'm caught in the middle with Ten Hag, as I've said about many times, but in so many different ways, in that I see huge parallels with this team to when I first started watching United, or particularly the 89, 90, 90, 91 kind of period, and I've referenced it a few times in videos. I think that everybody would agree, before we won the FA Cup in 1990, that Ferguson had not done enough to justify the faith that he was getting from the board. And no one would have been particularly sad had he have gone. It's easy in hindsight to say, of course, that would have been a massive mistake, as it would have been. But he, at that time, was probably saying stuff, doing stuff, which made us all go, what's he doing? I, as a kid, wasn't bothered about stuff like that. As I mentioned before, when you're a kid, it's different. I know my dad and his mates were sort of going, this guy ain't the man. And sometimes I think if you just persevere for long enough with someone, especially if there's no one better, then maybe they can come good. And I do think that could happen with Ten Hag. But it's so difficult to believe that when you're not seeing evidence of it in the moment. Or he could just be another fall guy. I don't know. It's difficult to know one way or the other, but this week he's been saying some stuff where you're like, what are you on about? He's talking about Marcus Rashford and saying he's progressing and that he's playing with motivation and enthusiasm. No, just don't hang him out to dry because he's one of your players, but be real. Be diplomatic, but be real. Don't tell us the opposite of what's true and expect us to swallow that. He's not doing you any favours. He's playing like a bag of shit all season. We can all say it's good to protect your players, but I think that's just ridiculous, what he said in reference to Rashford. And also just in reference to the team. He was asked about a style of play. And he said it's a stupid question. But then didn't really answer what the style was supposed to be and just waffled about nonsense for a few minutes. there isn't a style of play. You can say we know what he probably wants to do, but that's not what's happening. The style is just carnage, as I said before. And it was again today, and he's taken a massive chance. It could be, as I say, on another day, and okay, it didn't happen, but it could have been 4 or 5-0 at half time. So we got absolutely battered in the first half. And it's only by chance, really, in Liverpool being wasteful, that it wasn't that. And he would have been at fault for that, because he's not set the team up any differently to the way he set them up the other night, or the way he set them up against Brentford. Doesn't look like he knows any other way than, at the moment, just almost embracing the chaos. And as I say, what you'll get with that is some huge highs and some really bad lows. And moments like Stamford Bridge, where we're 3-2 up, the game's won. I said in a video the other day, I said, you've got to bring Casemiro off because he's done. And people say, well, who'd you bring him on? Who'd you bring on for him? Now, okay, today we didn't really have any other defenders, certainly not established defenders on the bench. And I referenced the other day, sometimes I saw centre-backs and right-backs and left-backs play holding midfield for United when Ferguson was there, because we had an injury crisis or whatever, and they just come on and do a job. Or actually, sometimes they start the game and do a job. We played Arsenal in December of the season when I had my season ticket, and we won the league that year. It was 2002 to 2003, and we were way behind, and we needed to beat him. It was a must-win game. And we had loads of injuries, and the centre midfield was Quinton Fortune and Phil Neville, and they just kicked the shit out of every Arsenal player that went anywhere near them, and let all the other lads just do their job. Sometimes football can be overcomplicated. When you're 3-2 up against Chelsea, bring a defender on, just stick him in the centre of the park, and just say, just kick people. Just make sure that we've only got 5 minutes left. You're not going to get sent off. Just don't let people through. But it doesn't, in games like that, games today at the start, he doesn't seem to have a way of changing things. And the only time I saw him do it was the Liverpool Cup game, when he just went balls out and went for it. But at least he did something different. So it is a good point. I'll take it all day long. There's nowhere near the euphoria, obviously, of the cup game, because the season's done in the league. But there's no rhyme or reason to this United team. It's absolutely bonkers. Glazers out.